I want to talk to you about something that's literally costing you millions. Do I have your attention? Right? Millions, like it can be millions of dollars, of course. It can be millions of minutes. It can be millions of memories. It can be millions to your health and vitality, but it's 1000% costing you millions. I deal with entrepreneurs and agents, and I've got some that have this conquered, and I have some that don't, right? Yet. But this is that thing that separates good health and vitality from poor health and vitality, good marriages from bad marriages, good parenting and leadership to poor parenting and leadership, incredible businesses and impact, and no impact and no business. You might be wondering what this is, and it's called distraction. Distraction is literally the difference between success and failure. What we really see, right, and we've talked about this before, is sort of that tip of the iceberg. And we see people that have had success. What we're seeing are people that you're like, oh, hey, you know, they got this great business. They really have it all together. What they've done is it's all the ugly, messy stuff, all the mistakes and the distractions and the navigating and all of those things is all below the surface. All you see is this little teeny bit above it. So I wrote down some things here that were examples of what distraction is, because I believe that if distraction was coming towards us and it looked like a porcupine, right? We'd all know, oh, hey, or a skunk, whoop, I'm out, right? If it were that easy to identify, we wouldn't get distracted, or we wouldn't get distracted by accident. There are people, and I'm one of them, right? Like we see distraction, we know it's distraction coming. It can be in the form of that person that just talks nonstop at the water cooler, right? Or it could be, a sport, or it could be a TV show or whatever, right? We choose to be distracted. We choose to check out. But I'm talking about the others that oftentimes come disguised as something else. And I wrote some of them down. And I think it's important for us to begin to ask the question, how are we going to avoid distraction? If we want to succeed, I don't know anybody that continues to get distracted that has the success that they're looking for. Sorry, right? It is the one big thing, is being disciplined enough to stay consistent. Because as we know, if we save $1 a day, when we're 20, the money is exponentially bigger than if we start saving $100 a day when we're 40, okay? It's the compound effect. So number one on my list was got a minute. I love the got a minutes, y'all. I love the got a minutes. Whoo. Well, of course I have a minute, right? Like I'd have to be a total jerk to tell you I don't have a minute for you. Like it's 60 seconds. Of course I have 60 seconds for you. And of course you are important enough to me for me to grant you 60 seconds, but it's never 60 seconds, is it? It's not, okay? And so I'm gonna teach you a trick on how to not be a jerk, but also protect your time. All right, number two, new lead source. Listen, Carrie, you are awesome. You are like one of my favorites. I have this new lead source, and I'm gonna make sure that you get first crack at it. But Carrie, listen, you're really gonna wanna take some time and listen to this, right? Like this is gonna be amazing. It's gonna completely and totally change your life. Yeah. Unqualified leads is number three as an example. I love this one, right? I am always super surprised at who we will put in our cars and take out to show property. Like you're like, well, do you know them? Well, no. Well, do you know they're not an axe murderer? Like, are they pre-approved? Do you even know that there's a property that exists? Like, have you had these conversations? We would never in a million years put our kids or our wives in a car, right? Like what? Anyway, you get my point. There's a way to fix that as well. All right, and number four is, can I buy you lunch? I'd like to pick your brain. I'm just gonna kick this can to Sharon. Just go to his podcast. Gosh, I think it's something like How to Pick a Mentor or something like that. I think he does an incredible job of explaining how to find a mentor that can help you through challenges. And I think if you'll figure that out, you will also respect others. And I think it'll be a symbiotic relationship, and you'll learn very quickly how to protect your time and not get distracted. I think the reality is we've been told so many times, and I probably have told you, right, that the key is to say no, is to learn how to say no. And I think that's partially true. I think the reality is, though, you've got to figure out a way to say yes. We all know the 80-20 rule. I love the 80-20 rule. Today, we're going to talk about the 90-10 rule, because the reality is that if you want to stay relevant, if you want to stay on the cutting edge, you have to innovate. You always have to be looking at what's coming in the future. You've got to be working on those things that you're not good at yet. You've got to be getting into that uncomfortable space. You've got to make room for these connections with other people that might be leading in a different direction. But here's the thing. If you are always distracted, you'll never develop the consistency to be able to stack all the bricks onto each other, right? So I'm going to give you 5 sort of tricks here that I would recommend that you try. Number 1, how about you just schedule time for distraction? What if you had 30 minutes every day that literally just said distraction time? Sky's the limit. Do whatever you want. Be distracted. I can't even think of what you would do, right? Like scroll aimlessly through TikTok. I don't know, right? But if you scheduled it, and then number 2 on my list is you say yes. So when somebody has, hey, do you got a minute? Hey, I have this incredible lead source, Carrie. I want to show it to you. Can I pick your brain? The answer is yes. I have time at 3:30 today. Imagine that. So it's not about saying no. It's actually about saying yes, because I've scheduled it. Number 3, check your ego. Folks, I am totally guilty of this. Hopefully I'm not the only one in this room, but the reality is that when somebody asks you for your advice, your input, doesn't it feel good? Yeah, it does. It feels awesome, right? But when you're really talking about identifying and moving away from distraction and protecting your very, very valuable time, you've got to learn that you're not that important, right? Like, that's awesome, but you have a time scheduled for that. So can I pick your brain? You have to make the decision as to whether or not that's going to create opportunity for you, or if that's just sucking the life out of you. But guess what? You have 30 minutes each day scheduled away for distraction time. You get to determine what you're going to do with it, right? I might suggest that distraction time for distraction time purpose, where there's no value to you, a little challenging, but that's up to you, right? Great process drives great results. We've heard it before. This is that whole idea behind, well, of course, if somebody calls and says, I want to list my house, don't we ask them about 32 different questions? We have an interview sheet. You're moving. Why are you moving? When do you need to go? Where are you going? Have you identified an agent there? How much do you owe on this property? What did you pay for it? What's your time? Like, don't we ask all those questions? That's your process. And that's what keeps you from being distracted. And again, these distractions that are disguised as opportunities, because the reality is, if somebody bought their property for $1 million and today it's worth 700 and they need to be gone in 3 days, but they don't have to sell, all of a sudden you're going, well, wait a minute. Are you willing to take a $300,000 loss? And if yes, are you willing to take 2 months to sell it, not 3 days? And right? Otherwise, you waste a bunch of time. So making sure that you've got a great process that you follow. And number 5, until you have achieved operational excellence, I'm talking about perfection in the proven strategies to your business, don't do the unproven ones. Okay? I'm talking about perfection. Hey, I don't know if you knew, but 68 to 72% of your business is going to come from your past clients and your sphere of influence. These are people that already know and love you. They've already chosen you to do business. They're already telling their friends. If you haven't figured out the best strategy to connect with them on a consistent basis, then all of the other things are just distractions that are disguised as opportunities. And emotionally, intellectually, we know this, but it drags us over to this, there's a better way to generate business. There's a way that takes less of my time. It's a lie. Okay. It's a lie. It's just the way it's always been. Yes, 93% of the people start their search online, but 89% of them use a real estate agent. There's a reason for that, right? Again, 93% of the people start their search online, but they're not using online to buy and sell real estate. They're using a real estate agent. So those are people that already know you. So don't fall for the snake oil pitch. Stay focused. Say no to distractions. Keep your eyes open, right? Understand that it's not like a porcupine. It's not always identifiable. That if you will focus in on the things that are proven, carve out some time to investigate those things that are not yet proven, you will stay more consistent, and I guarantee you'll have a better life, relationships, impact, and business. Hope you guys have an awesome day.